got there early in the morning. There were two guys that were fighting, and I tried, I broke up. I was like, guys, we don't need to be fighting. We're a team. And come to find out, they were fighting over a girl.
And
one of the guys was married, and the other guys were engaged, and they were fighting over a girl they met. I should have let them fight. Like, that's why you guys are fighting? I should have let them fight.
Week 10 in the National Football League is upon us. Buffalo has beaten Kansas City again in the regular season. A franchise quarterback is down and out, and legitimately, half of the teams in the league are still in playoff contention. This is Flutie versus Stegall, your weekly NFL picks and analysis show. That is Doug Flutie. That is Milt Stegall. Every week, the fellows drop their top picks, and overall, they are crushing it against the spread. We talk about NFL storylines. The guys share their own locker room stories. I'm your host, Arash Madani. Like and subscribe on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube. We thank you for making Flutie versus Stegall one of North America's fastest growing podcasts. And as always, we are powered by BODOG. Doug Flutie has taken the show on the road. Milt Stegall from his home studio. Doug, back-to-back 1 and 2 weeks for you. You had San Fran over the Giants, but the Colts tripped you up going into Pittsburgh in the elements, and the Packers lost to Carolina.
Yeah, the Colts let me down a little bit, but I was just happy to go 1 and 2 the way it worked out. It was looking dark for a little while. I got to find, I've got a dartboard in my basement. I'm ready to go to it. This keeps up.
I mean, the way last week went, you could have done it that way. Overall, Doug's 13 and 11. Milt, you're 16 and 8, 2 and 1 last week. You had San Francisco. Still don't know how Chicago covered, if we're being honest. That's fourth quarter.
It's the Bengals. It's the Bengals. That's how they covered.
Kansas City didn't deliver for you. Josh Allen getting it done again in the regular season. Let's get to the picks right away because I want to get back to the Bengals because there's trouble in, I don't even know if it's paradise there in Cincinnati.
No, it's not paradise.
In the AFC North versus NFC North, Baltimore looks like they're back. Yes. Lamar Jackson has returned to the fold. The Ravens offense is cooking. My Vikes just knocked off Detroit. J.J. McCarthy looked up and down as you'd expect. You like Baltimore to cover as a 4-point favorite and beat the Vikes this week, Milt?
Without a doubt. As you alluded to, Lamar is back. Lamar, as I call him, he's back, and he's playing at that MVP level. And that's what I was hoping for, that he'd get back to that level. He's doing that. That opens it up for Derrick Henry. Their defense is still a little suspect, but Lamar Jackson, if he's playing at that level, the Minnesota Vikings, with J.J. McCarthy, who's ever at quarterback, they won't have a shot. So Baltimore, they'll cover and win against the Minnesota Vikings, against your Minnesota Vikings.
Against my Minnesota Vikings. One of the biggest spreads of the week, Doug, is Indianapolis. The odds makers are saying don't worry about that loss at Pittsburgh. We haven't seen the Colts outdoors much. Now they got to travel across the pond to Berlin. They're going to face Atlanta. Daniel Jones look like the Daniel Jones of the New York Giants, turning the football over all over the place against the Steelers, but you're still confident in Indy to rout Atlanta to win by a couple of scores and cover. Why?
I really like Indy. I'm getting back to the teams that I know and I have confidence in. I know they stumbled last week. I know Daniel Jones turned the ball over and everybody right away wants to throw that switch and say, oh, he's back to his old tech. No, they've got a running game. They've got Jonathan Taylor. They can throw the football. What they've been doing can be consistent. He can be consistent moving the football with the way they do it, with the run game, him with all kinds of options to throw the football. I'm very confident in Daniel Jones and in Indy.
Can I say, let me say one quick thing about Daniel Jones. The thing he needs to do is come out and have success right away. Physically, I think he's fine. But if he comes out and he struggles early, mentally, he'll go back to maybe I am that Giants quarterback I was. He needs to come out and have some success right off the bat.
One of Milt's old coaches once told me, ball security equals job security. Colts through weeks 1 and 8, 4 turnovers combined. In week 9, Daniel Jones had 5. Doug, how do you make sure that here we go again thing doesn't creep into your headspace?
The trap you fall into is now coaches get nervous. It's like, protect the football. I can't turn it over. You win games by not turning the ball over. You stop making plays. You start coming off your progressions. Start coming off your downfield throws, dumping the ball off. All of a sudden, you're punting the ball a lot more. The trick is to stay aggressive with the football and still protect it. And that comes with your knowledge of the offense, your reads for your progressions, getting through it quickly and throwing the ball with confidence. When you're young and doing it, you're making mistakes. As you mature and you're more confident in what you're seeing, you just turn it loose and you make your plays down the field and you live with the consequences. I'm not worried about Daniel Jones. I love the way he's been playing football. I think what they're doing in Indy is sustainable and they'll continue to score points.
It also seems sustainable what they're doing in Seattle. I mean, you have to love what you're seeing from Sam Darnold. I mean, everything you just talked about, Doug, staying aggressive, getting after it, that's what Seattle has done with their first-year quarterback, and now Sam Darnold looks like a vet who is so comfortable in that offense. They are 1-touchdown favorites against Arizona, division game, the Cardinals on a short week. Both of you like this Seattle train to just keep moving. Milt, let's start with you.
Yeah. You talk about Sam Darnold and what he's been able to do. It's great that he has Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's in his 3rd year. And I mean, he's a top 2 or 3 receiver right now. He's leading the league in receiving yardage per game. He's doing it all. And Sam Darnold, his completion percentage is over 70%. And Doug, you know this, if you're over 70% in the NFL, you're elite. There's only like 6 or 7 guys that are over 7%. And let's also give some credit schematically to the scheme that they have on their offense. He's only been sacked 9 times. That means he's back there. He's comfortable. He's not worrying about getting hit. When you think about May, who's playing well in New England, he's been sacked 34 times. And that may come back and hurt him later on. And J.J. McCarthy, who's only played 3 games, he's been sacked 14 times. So those 3 elements has allowed Sam Darnold to have a pretty good year so far. So I definitely believe in him and against Arizona. But Arizona, Jacoby Brissett, he's playing some good football, so we can't sleep on him. That may be the end of it for that other guy they have at quarterback, but they're paying him a bunch of money. But I think Seattle will get it done and cover the spread.
Doug?
I agree 100%. I love what Sam Darnold's doing. I love the offense. They're able to run the football, which allows them to do play action stuff, protect the quarterback. And early in his career, Sam Darnold, and I covered him back to his college days, he was a kid that wanted to just make plays and never give up on a play and try to make it happen and all that. He doesn't have to do that as much anymore. He's throwing rhythm play through a nice corner route in rhythm for a touchdown, nice seam ball stuck in there, like getting a lot of man coverage because they run the ball well. And then still there's one of those plays where he's getting tackled, shovels the ball off, guy makes a play for him and he's off. So he still has that ability to make plays and not give up on things. But a lot of it is still, it's happening within their system and in rhythm and on time. And that's when you're protecting the football because it's happening in rhythm and as the offense should go in timing wise.
Both Doug and Milt like Seattle to cover 6.5. Milt, you talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think it's undoubtedly that he's a top 3 receiver, arguably the best receiver in the league, honestly, right now. You look across the way, he's going up against Marvin Harrison Jr. Jeremiah Smith's the best receiver right now in the country in college. Ohio State has turned into
wide receiver you.
It's amazing how it all works out. Trade deadline is upon us. Howie Roseman's off doing Howie Roseman things, just adding to that Eagles team. They've upgraded on their defense a little bit, and they go up against Green Bay as a 2.5-point dog. A Packers team that has a 12.5-point favorite lost outright at home to Carolina last week. Milt, you like Philly off the bye, not just to cover, but to outright win, paying plus 115 on BODOG this week.
I can't believe they're an underdog. And is it because they're going into Green Bay? And I know Green Bay is solid, but the way Jalen Hurts has played, and I know it's not, his numbers aren't crazy, but he leads the league in total touchdowns with 20, and their defense is solid. as you mentioned, they added Phillips from Miami. He's a great pass rusher off the edge. A.J. Brown seems to be happy. So they're going to get it done. Hurts doesn't turn the ball over much. They have one of the better running backs in the league, so they're going to come away with a victory right now. So I can't believe they're underdogs. I don't think they're going to blow the Packers out, but they'll win 5 or 6 points easily, in my opinion.
I'm always hesitant when I see spreads of more than a score in the NFL. There's still pros. But then when the line opened, Buffalo minus 9.5 against Miami, I honestly, guys, thought it should be higher. Like this felt like a double-digit spread type thing. The Dolphins are hopeless. Yes, they're on a long week after playing Thursday night, and I'm not sure how much firing a GM is going to give them a boost. Yeah. The way Buffalo looked against Kansas City, Doug, I get it. I get why you like the Bills minus 9.5 in Miami.
I'm going back with what I know, and they looked great the other night. The Kansas City win was fantastic. They defensively played much better. That was the enlightening part, the part that surprised, not surprised, but I'm kind of excited about for Buffalo, was the fact that defensively they showed some promise. And the dumpster fire that is Miami, I don't think it's a dumpster fire anymore. I think that was put out and just thrown out. They took the whole dumpster and it's down the dump right now. But they're struggled. I'm all about Buffalo. I love what they're doing, and Josh looked like Josh. The defense played better, so I'm going with it. I'm going to try to stick with what I know and try to catch up with Milt because I'm trailing.
Doug is trailing 13-11 overall for the season. Milt is 16-8. This week, Stegall likes Baltimore to cover and beat the Vikings. Baltimore is a 4-point favorite. He likes the Eagles outright over Green Bay and for the Seahawks to cover and beat Arizona around a 6.5-point favorite. Doug likes the same with Seattle. He also, as you just heard, likes Buffalo over Miami and the Colts to cover over the Falcons.
See, I'm banking these thoroughbreds, these wide receiver thoroughbreds that sprint out. See, Milt's got off to a good start, and he's running now. And he's got that full strike. They pull a hamstring at some point. He's going to pull a hammy. He's going to be down for a couple of weeks. And I'm going to be the tortoise. I'm going to catch up.
It's Flutie versus Stegall. We are powered by BODOG, and there is trouble in paradise in Cincinnati. It feels, it seems, it sounds like the locker room is kind of turning on one another and it's divided. Chase Brown, Jamar Chase kind of calling out the defense after that meltdown of a Bengals loss to Chicago. Those two guys didn't mince words. They said defense has to make a play. Guys, you've been around locker rooms for a long time. You've seen everything. When that stuff is said that publicly, what does that do behind closed doors, Milt?
You can't correct that. Though that fence can't be mended. It's over. I'm surprised they haven't reported of some fights. That's a problem. And Jamar Chase, he kind of covered it up a little bit. He was like, I'm gonna stay in my lane because if I mess up, they're gonna come after me. And Chase Brown, who's Canadian, and he's a great player, but Chase Brown is not a superstar. He's not a star. And the fact that he came out and said that publicly, that's a problem. That's a big problem that he came out and said that, because now those guys are looking at him with a side eye saying, okay, yes, we're not playing well, but we're doing our best. And I know you're playing great, but when you start slipping, we're going to come at you. So it's a bad place to be in right now, that Bengals locker room, and I know about it. My 3 years there, we won 11 games, so there was some infighting going on between everyone. So it's a problem there, and they can't fix it. That can't be fixed, because once you put that out there publicly, it's a problem that cannot be fixed.
Yeah, think about it. You're walking down the hallways. You're in that facility all day long, every day. And these are your buddies. These are the guys you're around 24/7. And you create an uncomfortable atmosphere where guys stop talking to each other. You start looking the other way. You avoid people now. They start. It surprises me when they go we've talked about it 100 times. that stuff should stay in house. Yeah, there's infighting. There's always been infighting, and then you resolve issues. But when it goes public and you're saying these things in public, which is this generation's thing, if it's not posted, it didn't happen in their worlds, and they've got to, for whatever reason, make it public. I don't get that. But you can't throw the magic switch and have more personnel defensively. They made a decision. When Joe Burrow got there, they got offensive personnel. They went strictly offense. And defensively, they didn't spend the money on the defense. And it shows. And that's a fact. But you've got to make the best of it in-house. And you're going to be living with these guys 24/7. You better make amends.
There's no way he can. That's it. That's it for that team right there, because there's so much divide right now. There's no making amends. There's nothing he can do. Nothing.
I mean, how many points?
So often,
the Jets put 39 on him.
Yeah. Well, and so often you look at a franchise quarterback to kind of try and mend some of those wounds, but with Burrow hurt, it's not like he can kind of try and come in and fix things that are going on right now because he's not playing. Right?
It's so hard. When you're not on the field, you're out. I mean, a guy in his position, of his stature, yes, he still has pull around the clubhouse and talking to guys and all that. But it's when you're injured, you're on the outside looking in at practice every day. You're standing in the back. You're in the training room. It's hard to be that leader when you're not on the field.
Either of you ever dealt with something like this where it's been like this in a locker room? What happens?
Man, I told you, in my 3 years with the Bengals, we won 11 games. It got so bad. And I mean, I won't say their names. Even if I said their names, you wouldn't know who they were. There was a time during practice where it was a defensive back who was about to go after a defensive lineman, because the game before that, we're practicing. The guy said, man, we're doing our job on the back and you guys need to get the quarterback. And it boiled over. We were at an event like a couple of days later, and these guys were about to fight in the parking lot. That's how bad it got. It was not only offense and versus defense, it was guys on defense fighting with each other. So it happens. But as Doug said, when you put it out there publicly, that's the problem. That is where the problems arise, because it happens all the time. It happens during the game. Guys are saying, okay, guys, let's pick it up. We're doing our job. We need you guys to pick it up. And most of the time, no one knows about that. But he put it out there publicly. That can't be fixed, in my opinion.
And the closest thing I had to it was when I was in Calgary and we were good and we were scoring a mess of points. But we had a hell of a defense, and they got no credit because it was the Alan Pitts, Doug Flutie, Dave Sapunja show in Calgary. And the defensive guys, we get their backup about, hey, we're playing good football. Give us the credit. So you try to go that direction as much as possible. But no, I mean, there's always been different reasons for infighting within the locker room. Guys not getting the ball enough, or, guys not stepping up, guys making a lot of money and he's not putting in the time and effort. When it's an effort thing, like guys that sign a new contract and all of a sudden he's the last one showing up and he's leaving early and he's not, those are type of issues I dealt with, but not necessarily this situation.
Can I just want to tell you one quick story about a fight that happened, and I won't tell you where I was and who it was, but I wish I would have let these guys fight. So we got there early in the morning. There were two guys that were fighting, and I tried, I broke up. I was like, guys, we don't need to be fighting. We're a team. And come to find out, they were fighting over a girl. And one of the guys was married, and the other guys were engaged, and they were fighting over a girl they met. I should have let them fight. Like, that's why you guys are fighting? I should have let them fight. I just want to tell that quick story.
Milt Stegall not naming names here on Flutie versus Stegall, powered by BODOG. Okay, that's
naming names will be next year's episode.
That's right. That'll be the name of the show next year. So there's infighting among players, and it makes it awkward in the building. Now let's go over to Washington. You're trailing 38-7. It's midway through the fourth quarter. The game is over. Dan Quinn later says, mea culpa. I should have taken Jaden Daniels out. It's a 4-score game, whatever. We should have done that. I want to get your thoughts on whether or not Jaden Daniels should or shouldn't have been in the game. but just kind of going through the lens of what we just talked about with Cincinnati. People talk about sometimes coaches losing a locker room or distractions within a locker room. Are guys in that commander's room kind of looking at one another saying, what's coach doing? Are some of those conversations now coming up when you lose your starting quarterback, likely for the year or not? I'll send it over to you.
Good. No, take a run at that.
I don't think so. Not in that situation, not in the commander situation. And my opinion is, I understand why he kept him in. You're dealing with a second-year guy. You're trying to put him in as many different situations as you can. Yes, hindsight is 2020. I wish I wouldn't have played him, but injuries happen in all time. It happens in practice, happens when you're working out. It doesn't matter. You can't concern yourself with, oh, I want to take him out because I don't want to get him injured. Now, if it's an older guy and you're getting crushed, I can see that. But you're trying to put your second-year hopefully franchise quarterback in as many situations as you can. And I had no problem with him keeping him in there. I understand he wants to make everybody feel great by saying, yes, I shouldn't have kept him in there. But I don't think that's going to break up the locker room. Those guys should be out there concerned about going out there and making plays and helping that team win. They're not concerned about, if their quarterback is getting injured or not. So I don't think that's going to break up the locker room in any way.
Yeah, I agree. Although today's day and age is a little different. I think being a second-year guy and he's your leader and he's trying to establish himself as that guy, I say being in the game, beginning. Tom Brady never came out of a game. I'm sorry. Tom's out there for kneel downs up by 45. Tom never came out of a game. That's just the way it was. And my attitude is, I'm not coming off the field. You got to pull me off the field. It pissed me off when I was in Calgary and we put 1 year Huff, offensive coordinator, was putting in Steve Taylor, the backup quarterback, to do quarterback sneaks. I didn't want it. No, I'll take the hits. I'm doing this. We played Edmonton, a rival, in a preseason game. I took every snap because I wanted to win the overtime. It went to overtime. So I took every snap. I'm not, you're the guy, you're on the field. The difference is you play smart when you're up by 100 points. When you're up by 30 points, you get down. You throw the ball away, you avoid a few hits, you play a little bit different. But that's, I think, the mistake. The mistake is you're up by that many points and you're in the game. Be a little careful. Don't take the extra hit.
It's Flutie versus Stegall. We are powered by BODOG. We're talking spreads, we're talking lines, we're talking storylines across the National Football League. Let's wrap with this one. The Sam Darnold renaissance is here. Sam Darnold is leading the Seattle Seahawks. They look legit in every way. He literally had a perfect first half. Doug, you have watched the evolution of this guy from his college days to the mess that was the Jets, to the disaster in Carolina, to then spending a year behind Brock Purdy, learning from Kyle Shanahan, and watching Darnold get a 14-win season under his belt last year in Minnesota. At what level is Sam Darnold playing now, and what has this done to his confidence to be able to do this right now?
I can't complete 14 in a row in practice, so that first half he had was absolutely amazing. I think part of the progression is you become a mature quarterback. You're learning coverages, you're learning protections, you get another fresh start. All those things add to your confidence. His confidence level is through the roof. Like I said, he's always been a guy that was athletic and never gave up on plays and tried to make things happen on his own. And he'd wind up having 2 or 3 bad turnovers in a game. With Seattle, he doesn't have to be that guy. He doesn't have to make it all happen on his own. He's got receivers. He's got play. I said he hit that nice corner route, nice seam route, everything in rhythm. Things are happening. And then once in a while, he does the shovel pass thing and makes something happen on his own. He's playing at a level where his anticipation is he's really seeing things, and it's letting it flow. He's not hesitating. Like I said, when you start to worry about turning the ball over, you stop making plays. You start hesitating. You're a little late with whatever that. No, he's playing with confidence. I love it when you go through hard times. And he talked about this when things were struggling early in his career. He's got a close family. His family was there every college game that I covered him. I talked to mom and dad. They were around the hotel. He's got a great support system. So that helps him fight through all that mess. And now is the light at the end of the tunnel for him. He's playing great football.
Yes, he is.
With that, let's go through the picks one last time. Milt this week likes Baltimore to cover, beat the Vikings. The Ravens a 4-point favorite. He likes the Eagles to outright knock off Green Bay, paying plus 115 on BODOG. And both Milt and Doug like Sam Darnold and the Seahawks to cover and beat the Cardinals. Doug also likes two big faves, Buffalo over Miami and the Colts over the Falcons.
Hey, don't forget my bonus pick, the bye week to beat the
Yes.
Bengals. Remember we talked about that.
Bye week over the Bengals. I like it.
Bye week over the Bengals.
I mean, what are we going to hear? Kind of Sunday morning, the fire alarms going off at Bengals headquarters and smoke coming out of the facility? Oh, man. What a time. Zach Taylor, I don't even know what he's going to be doing this week with the off week. We thank all of you for making Flutie versus Stegall one of North America's fastest growing football podcasts. Please like and subscribe at Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. We will see you next week on Flutie versus Stegall.